New York Bio is holding our second annual Patient Engagement Summit on April 6th, 2022, a virtual forum to bring the voice of the patient into the biotech innovation spectrum. This year, we're presenting Patient Perspectives, segments where we hear from the patients in their own words, a track sponsored by Vertex. We now present Cole Harrel, giving his own patient perspective.
Hi, my name is Cole Harrel, and I have neurofibromatosis type 2. I wanted to start off by giving you some personal information about myself. I currently live in Florence, South Carolina. I'm 28 years old. I am married to an amazing woman named Helen, and I have a 2-year-old daughter, as well as my wife being 20 weeks pregnant with another daughter on the way. I was diagnosed with NF2 when I was around 15 years old. I noticed at the time that I was losing hearing in one of my ears, and a subsequent hearing test showed that I had very significant hearing loss in one ear. And then that led to multiple scans, multiple doctor's appointments to figure out what was causing the hearing loss. And eventually, soon after that, I was diagnosed with NF2, and I had bilateral acoustic neuromas, so tumors on each side in the brain. One was extremely large, and that was causing the hearing loss. So I immediately had a surgery a month later, and I lost all the hearing in that one ear, which was expected. So at this time, I was just entering high school, and that was a bit of a shock. I still had good hearing, so there wasn't much impacting me at the time other than that one surgery. And I don't think I truly understood or knew the extent that NF2 was going to have an impact on my life at that point. And then as I went through high school, I did have one good year where I had hearing. So I was able to communicate with friends, communicate with family, and get through school just fine. But I did start losing my hearing towards the end of high school, and I had to get a hearing aid. And then my hearing continued to drop pretty drastically to the point I got a cochlear implant right before college. And when I went into college, at this point, I was kind of at this middle ground where I didn't need any more surgeries yet. I still had tumors, but they weren't causing enough issues to need surgery. And my hearing was at a point where the cochlear implant was helping, but I only had one good ear, and it was a bit hit or miss about how beneficial it was to my life. So at this point, I was very early stages in college and losing my hearing pretty quickly. I did have a cochlear implant, but it was very much self-taught going through college. I couldn't hear my teachers very well. I was relying on other notes from fellow students, so everything became very self-taught for most of my classes. And at this point, I didn't really have a lot of the resources when I was going through high school or early college to understand sign language or take benefit from using an ASL interpreter during classes. And that's a very hard point for a lot of NF2 patients, because they get put in a situation where they lose their hearing a lot later in life, whether they end up hard of hearing or completely deaf. That affects a lot of us. And as you get older, a lot of times you don't have these resources, or it becomes harder to learn a new language. Now, I was very, very fortunate at the time that when I was in college, my girlfriend, who is now my current wife, was going to a college that had a deaf program, and we were actually able to learn ASL together, which was life-altering. It was amazing, because now I am completely deaf. I had 2 more brain surgeries when I was in college. That resulted in me completely losing any hearing nerves I had left. I lost my balance nerves, so I have no more functioning balance nerves, no more functioning hearing nerves, and some very limited visual paralysis on one side. In the end, I'm actually very, very fortunate, and I see myself as having a mild case. And being able to learn sign language through college with my wife was absolutely amazing, because now I'm completely deaf, and we communicate primarily through sign language, even with my daughter. And I also had multiple other treatments through that span of time. I took chemotherapy for about 1.5 years. I had about a month's worth of radiation, and I'm 28 years old now. All that was pretty much between the ages of 15 and I would say 21. And I'm very fortunate to say that my brain tumors have actually been stable for the past 7 or 8 years. Um, I did also try a couple other drugs before brain surgeries to try and help things, but they didn't help me very much. We There are not a whole lot of dedicated treatments, options, and drugs that are targeted towards NF2, unfortunately, and can really use a lot of help with that. Um,
This has been a patient perspective from NewYorkBIO's Patient Engagement Summit. For more from NewYorkBIO, please visit our website at www.newyorkbio.org and follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn at NewYorkBIO.